Right, ladies and gentlemen, Tata Steel today. It is the finale, the final round. We have two players tied for first place, Pragg and Gukesh, and only half a point behind them is Nurtebek Abdusattorov. Unfortunately for Nurtebek fans, we won't be talking much about him today, I'm afraid. We are focusing on the two superstars of India. And today was very, very dramatic. So we're going over to the board. It is Gukesh and Arjun Erigaisi, an all-Indian clash in the final round. If Gukesh wins, then Pragdananda must win to keep tied with him. If not, Gukesh wins the tournament. If he draws and Pragg wins the tournament. So it is very tense heading into the final round. So Gukesh plays e4, e5. We get e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, a Petrov. I guarantee you, if you're going to try and play for a win, the last thing you want to see is the Petrov defense. It is known for being very drawish. So we get takes, and here, most games go back knight f3. Knight c4 is the second most choice, but it's played in 2% of games. Everybody plays knight f3. Knight c4 is a move, though, where you give up this pawn, you play queen e2, queen e7, bring the knight back, that knight retreats, and we develop our pieces like this. This is what we look to do. We develop our pieces like this, as everybody slides over, and we get opposite side castling. There is one game in the Lead Chess Masters database, and it ended in a draw between two 2500s, Anton Kopar and Jan Helbisch. And this is 10 moves in, of a Petrov defense, one of the most theoretically explored openings, so we are now deep in the woods. b4 and d5. This is what you're going to do. You get attacked on one side of the board. You are going to bring haymakers in the center. We trade off the bishops. And I don't understand why, because so far as I'm aware, when you've got a fianchettoed bishop like this and they offer a trade, you never take and let the queen get in. You would rather let them take you and bring your king up than take and let the queen come in, because there's mating possibilities. So I don't know why you would do this. The queen slides over, I get it. But now, h5. And it's still level, but it feels like you're giving them a lot here. We've now had h5, h4. You won a pawn in the center, but you might get mated. So we grab this knight, and we bring the rook over. Takes. How are you not mated? Like that, you can run, and the queen covers that square. So knight to c4. We bring the knight in to help maybe corral, and black is better. Let it be known here, rook d1, this slight inaccuracy, black is now better. Gukesh is worse. He's going to lose Tata Steel. After takes, the knight comes in, and another mistake. And these aren't catastrophic mistakes, but they're just big enough to cause enough problems and to give Arjun enough. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a fan of Gukesh, it was not a good day. The several inaccuracies and eventually a huge blunder. He loses his queen, and Arjun Erigaisi defeats Gukesh. Now we go to Pragdananda. If he even draws this game, he is Tata Steel champion 2025. He's playing Vincent Keimer. He's also got the black pieces. So Gukesh had white and could probably easily have made a draw, in some more theoretical lines, particularly in the Petrov. Pragg, if he wants to play something, he plays a Caro-Kann. These are not openings seen at top level, particularly this line. Gotham Chess has played it before, and now the majority of games goes e6. We get e6, bishop e2, knight f6, short castles, and a crazy move here. To me, d4 looks so counterintuitive. You want to keep the structure together. This is the whole bread and butter of the Caro-Kann. You've traded your light square bishop. Why would you push this pawn? You would rather let them take and then keep your structure together than push the pawn. So we push the pawn, the knight has to go back, but was it worth it? You've got to ask yourself sometimes in life, was it worth it? We hit the bishop retreats, we take space on the queen side, and yeah, for Pragg, it's a level position, but you are inviting a serious attack. That pawn is weak. You might say, well, this bishop's not that useful. We are dominating you on all three sides of the board here, but it's not going to be good. Yes, you can kick the queen all the way to g2. I would take black here 10 out of 10 times. We trade. Yeah. And Pragg is holding. Like, there's no mistakes here until now. Pragg must find one move to keep the game level. And that move is queen to c7, inviting a trade. And this would surely have been a draw. Instead, plays queen e7 and is losing for one and one move only. And that is queen to c8. If Vincent Keimer finds this, he has a decisive advantage against Pragg. He misses it. Queen c6. Now again, one move only for Pragg, and he finds it. h6. Now the game is level once again. White can grab a pawn. And just by the way, here again, only move bishop d6. White has much more leeway. And here Pragg has got a couple of choices. So knight f6 is fine. Knight comes out. Queen e7. Queen d7. Offering exchange. We don't exchange. King slides over. It looks like Pragg has escaped. No, he hasn't. Here, for some reason, the evaluation jumps after White has made the move. And it says, actually, we think White's better. King slides back. Now it thinks it's alright, so my engine's just a bit fritzy. We still don't trade queens. Vincent Keimer's going to play. This is the final round for him. And oh, no! This looks like such a clever move. Because you're like, well, pin, you can't take this. No. Here again, it's black is slightly worse. It's 1.3 for white. This is a fatal blunder, but only if you play either knight g6 or queen c7. Those are the only two moves that really capitalize fully on the advantage. Queen g6 is okay, but not really good enough because now the knight comes out, and now you've got to play queen f5. That is the decisive move. Queen f5 is played. The black queen comes out. We defend the white bishop. And the black dark squared bishop comes out. And Pragg is worse. And he makes another mistake. He walks directly into a 4. Into an attack. And now the queen can come in. The dark squared bishop does come in to try and defend. But it's not enough. Eventually a breakthrough will come. After a brief flirt with repetition. We exchange the knights. And lovely move here. When you take, I take the bishop, and that will be game. So we try, but Vincent Keimer is up, and he goes on to convert this really quite nicely against Pragg, which means both of the leaders have lost. So, our forgotten man, Nordebek Abdusatorov, what can he do? As this game went on, until this point when it's mate in 10. So, Nordebek Abdusatorov, where did he place? What did he do in his game? Because he was only half a point behind. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to really play spoilers. I'm going to press the forward arrow because he did what he needed to do effectively after all these results. He got a draw. He went on to get a draw. It took a while. They played a game. I promise you, they played a game. This was not a trade pieces and go home draw. They played. They fought it out. But eventually all the pieces came off the board. And eventually we got all the way here. It was a queen endgame. Queen endgames are always difficult, but they repeated moves and made a draw. So what happened now after this? Let's have a short break, and I'll come back and tell you what happened.
A few moments later.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Now, thanks to my little intro and little break, you will see on screen we've got a game between Gukesh and Pragg. Now that is because they, after the normal tiebreaks implemented, the words couldn't get out there, they finished top 2. So Nordebek finished on the same points as them, but according to like the traditional chess tiebreaks, the 3 scoring systems, whatever, he finishes 3rd, according to that. So there is going to be a tiebreak series of games between Pragg and Gukesh. I think it's a best of 4. Yes, it's 3 plus 2 games are played, and then you draw lots of who starts with white, and then if the score is tied, it's sudden death. So we've got 2 games. If both of them win a game, then they will play sudden death. So this is the first game. Gukesh has got the white pieces. He's playing Pragg, and he elects to play knight f3 the reti. We get d4 and c4. D5, c4, and then we defend. So this is just like a straight up reti, almost like a neo-Catalan, almost like a Benoni now, because you never got to play d4, and so this pawn's come all the way here. You've kind of developed in the style of the Benoni system. I imagine there'll be an e-pawn pushed soon. As we build up on the queen side, the dark square bishop comes out. It trades, but that's because and you might say, why would you trade your dark square bishop? You've got all these pawns on light squares. Because it never really was going to have options. Like sitting here and here, it's never really going to have a future. So trading it for the knight's not a bad idea. And you can plant your knight nice and strong in the center, and you can grab the bishop right back. So now we've both just got a light squared bishop, as we now look to break through on the queen side. That is where Gukesh is going to be focusing his play. So the rooks come in, and we look to infiltrate. We give up 1 pawn there, or not. We give up the pawn for activity. Black is slightly better here, but it's a blitz game. Like at the end of the day, it's a blitz game, and Gukesh is up on time. And in a blitz game, that's very meaningful. It's always meaningful whether you're playing blitz or you're playing classical game, and you're just waiting for a mistake. Well, here's a slight inaccuracy. Now white's better, but taking is not the right move, because you get back, and now we can try and target the knight. There's nothing here. We lose our knight. We grab this knight. It's a dead draw. Queen takes d3. Rook e7 is a nice idea, but yeah, rook f8 would solve problems. Bishop e6 also works. Queen takes b7, c5, queen c7, and here inexplicably Pragg plays queen d6, which loses to rook e8. Just hung his queen, basically, because you might say, how does it lose to rook e8? Can't I go here? Well, then I take your rook. Simple. And the alternative is, and what the engine prefers, is to take the rook and lose the queen. Yeah, so Pragg hangs a rook. Yeah, so here we get the check. King d7 was played. We take the rook. The queen slides out, but this is just horrible, and you're going to get mated. You just got to find the way through, and here it's checkmate in 19. Don't know if you'd find that in the blitz game, but Pragg resigns. So he must strike back in this fight in the second game to force it to sudden death. Gukesh just needs a draw. We get d4, knight f6, and we get a Trompowski. d5, e3, and the way you play this with white is you almost set up like in a London, but your dark squared bishop has gone a bit further. So we get this. We don't trade the dark squared bishop unless really asked to, and in this position you don't have to. So we set up like this, and now it's who can break through and who can come up with the best plan. As you can see, it's a blitz game. They're playing several inaccuracies. White is slightly better until now. Knight g4. Knight g4 was not the right move. To keep advantage, you must play either e6 or you must play h4 to keep the advantage. Knight g4 is not the right move, but don't worry about it. Gukesh plays king h8, which loses to a couple of moves, most notably knight c4, which gets played. The knight can come back, but we just plant our knight in the center, nice and dominant, and we're just going to start now removing defenders of the king and encroaching on his position. And it really is this simple for Gukesh, not for Gukesh, for Pragg, as he mops up against Gukesh. And here Gukesh, I don't know, flags or resigns, and we're into sudden death. So the winner of this game will be crowned Tata Steel Champion 2025. a classical tournament being decided in a blitz playoff. Here we go. D4 again. D5. Knight f3. So we're getting this, a London system. These players are playing new stuff and new openings. We get takes. This is mainline London. We trade the queen. So you're going to win this in a long end game, which in a blitz game isn't... I don't know if it's the preferred strategy in a blitz game. I suppose you don't want too many complications. But in games, just because there's less pieces doesn't mean it's any easier. As we give up a pawn and it gets tactical. And here, black is slightly better. But you know, you've got pieces left on the board and you've got to make moves. You've still got to make moves, and we trade into this knight endgame. Knight endgames are notoriously difficult. And here it's a draw. And it was still a draw for many more moves as the players hold with all their might. And it looks like we're going to have a repetition. And we get all the way here. It's now the advantage is swelled to plus 1.3. Gukesh with 8 seconds on the clock. Plays knight d3. Which loses to knight g4 check. Because we pick up the center pawn. And we grab the knight. And we're just up a knight. And from here, we've got table base going. And it says for some moves are winning, some moves are losing. But it doesn't matter. Pragg wins. And he is your Tata Steel champion 2025. Gukesh blows it at the last minute. He just needed to draw in the classical. He had to try and defeat Pragg. And he was up after the first game, if I'm not mistaken. He goes on to lose in a blitz playoff. An incredible tournament by these two Indian superstars. And Nordibek Abdusattorov, who deserves a notable shout out after he finished third. But was on the same points as them. How crazy is chess? Let me know what you think of the system that they used to decide all of this. Let me know what you think of the tournament. Anyway, until next time.